I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Oh. Προς στιγμή τρόμαξα γιατί φάνηκε να έχει ένα εφέ περίεργο και η κάρτα μου είναι στα τελευταία της. Ελπίζω όταν θα δημοσιευτεί το συγκεκριμένο gameplay να έχω πάρει καινούργια κάρτα. Τέλος πάντων, ναι, τρόμαξα και... εντάξει, πάμε πάλι από την αρχή λοιπόν.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Σε κάποιο σημείο έγραφε ότι ο narrator ξεχνάει τα πάντα και κάνει σαν να μην έγινε τίποτα. Αυτό λες να ήτανε? Λες, σε ποιον μιλάω, μόνος μου μιλάω. Λέτε να ήτανε. Sorry για το απότομο. Φαίνεται πάλι σαν να έχουμε πάει στην αρχή.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Θα πάω left. Γιατί όχι? Και φτάσαμε στο γραφείο.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Πάμε εκεί πάνω στο boss το δωμάτιο, γιατί ήταν και εκείνη η πόρτα που ήταν κλειδωμένη που δεν πήγα τελικά. Broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ακριβώς γιατί έτσι κι αλλιώς δεν έχει όντως τίποτα.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Πάρα πολύ ωραία. Είναι το γνωστό το δωμάτιο. Δεν λέει executive bathroom, αλλά δεν μπορούμε να μπούμε.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Την άλλη φορά είχε σκάλες και ήταν ένα άλλο πράγμα. Λοιπόν, 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
What's this place? Δεν βλέπω τίποτα. Γιατί είναι τόσο σκοτεινό? Και πού πάμε ακριβώς τώρα?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Πού βγήκαμε? Escape λέει. If light is on, call external μάλλον. 914. Ναι, αλλά δεν έχουμε τηλέφωνο.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I did. Escape. Και Mind Control Facility. Και έχει έναν υπολογιστή. Τώρα πω. Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Αλήθεια. Ψέματα λες, αποκλείεται. Κάπου κόλλησα.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Όχι, μπλοφάρει, αποκλείεται. Όπως και την άλλη φορά θα βγω κάπου που δεν θέλει να πάω.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Δεν θα πεθανώ. Έχει μια τρύπα. Τώρα αυτό είναι χαζό, αλλά... Τζερόνιμο.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Νομίζω ότι κάτι κάνει. Επίσης, αυτή που μιλούσε ποια ήταν? Και εκεί πέρα τι είναι το φως? Απλά κυβότια.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Θα βγω στο γραφείο μου πάλι. Όχι, τι είναι αυτό? Αυτό δεν είναι το γραφείο μου.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Αλήθεια. Τι είναι αυτό? Nature paintings. Μάλιστα. μουσείο. Αυτό είναι τα γραφεία. Από εδώ, office layout. Κάτσε βρε. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Όπως ερχόσουν, αυτό το γραφείο εδώ, ναι. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Εδώ είναι οι δύο οι πόρτες, όντως. The set of two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, or an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Α, δεν μπορώ να ανέβω. Οπα. The office. Δεν μπορείς να κάνεις κάτι εδώ μάλλον. Μάλιστα. A selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Okay. Filling cabinets. Office computers. Sorry, σας έκλεισα. Δεν πειράζει. Δεν μπορώ να πω ότι φαίνονται καθαρά. Please enter your command. Printing employee data in database. Τους έκλεισα να μην καίνε ρεύμα. Credits. Δηλαδή, τι αυτό ήταν το τέλος ουσιαστικά. Μπα. Α, ένας Έλληνας, Γιάννης Ιωαννίδης. Πάνω αριστερά, original music. Για να δούμε εδώ. The office. Maintenance room. Αν όντως τελείωσε και αυτά είναι τα credits, τι να πω, είναι πολύ πρωτότυπα credits. Πάντως είναι ωραίο το Boss's Office Development. Την άλλη φορά πάντως εγώ είχα έρθει σε διαφορετικό και όχι τέτοιο γραφείο, είμαι σίγουρος. Πάμε από εδώ. Employee loud. An early version of the underground portion of the game.
Well, try the other one.
The voice of the narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. Bah, these are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game. Πού είναι, να ακούω.
Stanley walked through the green door. And finally, he pushed the line. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible to you? Sure, we'll get him right back on track to where he was supposed to.
Μάλιστα. Δεν έχει κάτι άλλο από εδώ. Δεν έχει φώτα κάπου και για κάποιο λόγο φωτίζεται ο διάδρομος. Αυτό, ναι, μου χαλάει το CD μου. Freedom ending. Αχα, εγώ τι έβγαλα, confusion ending. Δηλαδή κάτσε, τελείωσε. Τέλος πάντων, μάλλον, ναι. Θα το ξαναπαίξω, σίγουρα θα το ξαναπαίξω. Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpret it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Μάλιστα. Screenshots of the Stanley Parable HD remix, more endings. Green light. Ενδιαφέρον, ενδιαφέρον. Δεν το ξέρω ότι ήταν από το green light. Είναι αυτά. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are selection of those mails. Και έχει διάφορα τώρα slides εδώ πέρα. Άντε ρε. Μάλιστα, οκ. The launch, an early version. Αδιάφορο, το τελευταίο ήταν πιο ωραίο. Αυτά, μ' αρέσουν τα ρολόγια αυτά. Μ' αρέσει. Αυτό που έβγαλαν στο τέλος ήταν καλύτερο. Second version. Μια άσχετη καρέκλα. Κάτσε, θα χαθώ στο τέλος εγώ. Ας έρθουμε πρώτα εδώ. Meeting room. Τι έχουμε εδώ? Doorway to maintenance in the lounge. Vent. Έλα. The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Συνήθως έτσι γίνεται. Zending model. Δεν ξέρω για ποιο πράγμα μιλάει εδώ. Ναι, αυτό σίγουρα δεν το έχω βρει, οπότε ναι. Αχα, άρα δεν θα το δούμε ποτέ ούτως ή άλλως. Θα το ξαναπαίξω. Έλα. Εδώ λέει exit. Κάτσε να πάμε και από την άλλη μεριά. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. Α, μπορούμε να τα δούμε. Καλή φάση. Δεν νομίζω ότι μας ενδιαφέρει όμως. Εντάξει, τώρα τα trailers τα βλέπω όταν ψάχνω να δω ένα παιχνίδι. Λοιπόν, για να δούμε από εδώ πέρα τι άλλο έχουμε. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. Τι είναι το countdown, τι είναι το freedom ending. Τι κάνει έτσι. Α, βγήκα από την άλλη μεριά, οκ. Μάλιστα, άρα αυτό ήταν που το έστειλε και τον προσέλαβαν, δηλαδή, μπράβο. Α, ήρθα από εδώ. Από εδώ δεν ήρθα. Λοιπόν, 11 12 και μετά ήταν αυτό. Αυτό είναι το τελευταίο, ναι. Μάλιστα. Ωραία, πάμε στο exit να δούμε τι θα γίνει.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Για μένα και τον narrator μάλλον μιλάει.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.